Going deep together. How many of y'all had a great Monday off school? Did you have a great Monday off school? I had a great Monday off school. It was absolutely incredible. Well, one of the things I love to do on days off is I am a Netflix binge watcher. Do we have any other Netflix binge watchers? Yes. Now, I've gotten into this weird habit lately. Like, I don't know what it is, but I love watching like these funky documentaries. And so there have been some ones on like old toys. Like, it's been kind of cool. So I watched one called Making Fun that talks about pop Funkos. Does anybody know what a pop Funko is or a Funko Pop? Does anybody know? Okay, so anyway, these pop Funkos, what they are is they're basically these figures that have really ginormous heads and really little bodies. If you're an Office fan, they're kind of like Dwight Schrute, but a figure, right? Or it's like if you've ever seen like a cartoon before and the character has like a really large head but a really little body. That's what they look like. And they make them of all kinds of things. So like when the last Avengers movie came out, they had like everybody that was a pop Funko. Can we see that picture? And so they had all of them. And they make them of as many different things as you can think of. They have rock star pop Funkos where they're rock stars, okay? So like if you look at that one, it's like Jimi Hendrix and Justin Bieber and Joey Ramone from the Ramones. They even have them of athletes. Like y'all, the Cowboys are such a big deal. If you look at this picture, Zeke and Dak both have doubles on this list. They have them in hats and no hats. If you'll notice, there's nobody from the Patriots on that. Just thought I'd point it out. And then just to show you how big a deal this was, in the last presidential election, they even made presidential pop Funkos. Which, now you might think you got a weird present for Christmas. How would you have liked to have gotten a Donald Trump or a Hillary Clinton action figure? No, well, anyway, I was watching this show on Netflix called Making Fun. And it talked about where this company came from. This company was started in the Seattle area in Washington, and it started in a guy's garage. And he started by making bobbleheads. He started by making bobbleheads of like advertising characters from restaurants and food brands and cereals. And that's how he got started. And it got bigger and bigger until finally he started doing things like Comic-Con and festivals and getting things in stores. And there was this guy named Dave who he just really thought these pop Funkos were cool. And so whenever Dave knew these guys were gonna be around selling pop Funkos, he would show up and he would just help. He was so excited about them, he would just show people about them, and he would tell people about them. And he would tell people the ones to buy, because there were certain ones that were more cool than others, and were ones that were harder to find than others. And there were ones that were special, were new, and Dave knew everything about them. And Dave wasn't paid, he just did it because Dave wanted to help people, and he was excited about Funko. And so what happened is they ended up hiring Dave, and Dave ended up becoming one of their first employees at this company that now is like a $1 billion company that has its own store and is in Target and Walmart and Walgreens and everything you can think of. They're everywhere. If next time you go to a store, look for them, but they're like everywhere. And they become a really big deal. And Dave became one of the first employees because Dave cared about something really important. He cared about helping people. Now we're gonna talk about serving today because I believe that you're in a place where you want to be trusted more and respected more. I believe that you're in a place where you want to be taken more seriously and you want to give it more respect and trust from adults and from other people your age. I believe that about you, and I believe that you deserve it. But I'm gonna do something for you. I'm gonna help you get it from people. And one of the ways that you earn trust and respect from people is by developing a reputation for being someone who is deep and not fake, shallow, or immature. And one of the biggest ways you can go deep is by serving other people. When I mean serving, this is what I mean. Serving is using what you have to make a positive difference in someone else's life where they're at. That's what serving is. If you want just a great definition of serving, this is literally the best I could come up with. Serving is using what you have to make a positive difference in someone else's life where they're at. It's not super complicated. Anybody can serve. Anything that you have available to you, whether it's a time, whether it's talent, whether it's resources, whether it's a skill that you've worked super hard at, All of us have something we can use to help someone else where they're at. You don't have to go super far away to serve. You don't have to serve only at Walmart. You don't have to serve only at church. You don't have to serve only at school. You don't have to serve only at home. You can literally serve anywhere with literally anything. The key is that you take something you have or you can do and you do it for someone else to help them have a better life. That's what serving is. Jesus taught us that serving is literally for everyone. No one is too good to serve another human being. No one is too good to serve. Jesus is the Son of God. He lived a perfect life. Jesus says over and over again to anybody who would listen, I did not come to be served, I came to serve. I didn't come to have people come and do stuff for me. I came to do things for other people. He says it over and over and over in his time on earth. God uses service to grow our faith. The same way that if you're an athlete, you know the best way that you become a better jump shooter if you're a basketball player? Is to shoot a lot of jump shots the right way. The best way to become a better soccer player is to play more soccer. The best way to become a better musician, to become a better dancer, to become a better cheerleader, to become a better performer, to become a better football player, baseball player. The best way to become that is to do it. You can't just sit and watch other people do it. You can't talk about how rad it is for other people to do it. You actually have to get in the game and do it. And when Jesus walked the earth, which by the way, Jesus was very, very real. We have archaeological evidence that's from the Bible and from church people, and we have archaeological evidence that's outside the Bible and outside church people that all point to one truth, that 2,000 years ago, there was a miraculous birth and a miraculous man did amazing things, and he changed people's worlds. And this one simple man became the center of a universe and the most dominant empire in the world, the Roman Empire, that the sun never set on the Roman Empire in the known world as they knew it. The Roman Empire ended up coming down because people stopped putting their faith in false gods and in kings who pretended to be gods and started to put their faith in Jesus. And that happened. That's real. And so this Jesus walked the earth for 3 years without a home, away from his family, going everywhere God led him to make a difference in people's lives, to serve others. And in Matthew chapter 14 in the Bible, and if you have a Bible app or you have a hard copy Bible, I'd invite you to pull that out. For those of you that are note takers, you are history makers, and you're doing something to help you remember it so you can put it into action. I always encourage you to do that, but you don't have to. If you want to take pictures of things that come up on the screen, you can do that too. Matthew's the first book in the New Testament. There was one of Jesus' immediate followers. He wrote down as much as he could remember of all the things he heard Jesus say and all the things he saw Jesus do and a lot of the things that he did with Jesus. And the story in Matthew 14 is something that Jesus did with Matthew and his friends. In Matthew chapter 14, Jesus has had a long, hard day. People follow him out in the middle of nowhere and they're not sure what to do with him. This is what happens in Matthew 14, starting in verse 13. When Jesus heard that all these people had followed him out in the middle of nowhere, as soon as he heard the news, he left in a boat to a remote area to be alone. But the crowds heard where he was headed, and they followed on foot from many towns. Jesus saw the huge crowd as he stepped from the boat, and he had compassion on them and healed their sick. In other words, there's this really big lake, and they see him out on this boat. And they're figuring out where he's going to land that boat. And so all these people roam around the lakes. They walk for hours to figure out the spot he's going to stop so that they can be here when he gets off. And when he gets out of the boat, this is what it says happens. It says that Jesus saw the huge crowd. He stopped. He healed them. He had compassion on them. He helped them. Well, a little while later, his disciples, his close followers, they get nervous. Because this is what happens when all of a sudden a lot of people come over. You don't know what to do with them all. Right? I don't know if you've ever had that happen before, but the word starts to spread. You thought a few people were coming over. Pretty soon the house is full. The food's almost gone. Dinner time's coming. Somebody says, hey, maybe we should order a pizza. If you're a dude, you say, well, no, duh, right? And that's what happens, right? Well, this is kind of what happens with Jesus's close friends and disciples. At that evening, the disciples came to him, meaning Jesus, and they said, hey, this is a remote place. That means this is a place out in the middle of nowhere. It's already getting late. We should send these people home to go get food. If we wait too long, they're not gonna be able to get dinner. They're gonna get weak, they're gonna get hurt. They're not gonna be able to make it there because there was no electricity, there were no cars. So they walked everywhere and they had no food with them. So then Jesus says something huge, and I want you to really take in these words. These are big words. This is Jesus' heart for you and me when a need pops up. Jesus doesn't say, well, gee, you probably ought to go get an adult to take care of that. Or, oh, gee, well, maybe you should go and ask someone else to do something about it. Which, by the way, this is one of the easiest things to do in middle school. A problem happens, and what you do is you look to your left and you look to your right and you wonder who else is gonna do something about it. Here's the one thing that I want for you as your pastor and as your friend. I don't want you to be a person who follows the crowd. I want you to be a person who looks for a solution for the crowd. I don't want you to be the person that gets lost in the crowd. I want you to be the person that makes a difference for the crowd. So Jesus says something profound. He says, you give them something to eat. You feed them. It is not necessary for us to go somewhere else. You feed them. And so his disciples start combing the crowd. They're like, oh my gosh, where are we gonna get food? What are we gonna do? We're out here in the middle of nowhere. So they start kind of looking around, asking around. They go through their own supplies and they come back to Jesus and they go, Jesus, we have a problem. We have 5 loaves of bread, which by the way, their loaves of bread were kind of like tortillas is what they kind of were. That's what their bread looked like. So if you can picture like 5 tortillas, which I left 5 tortillas, that would be probably enough food for me. I would eat 5 tortillas. So 5 tortillas and 2 fish. Again, that would feed me, but it's not gonna feed the other 4,999 plus women and children, right? And so this is what happens. Jesus gives them instructions. He says, you know what, you sit in circles. After these guys have sat in circles, this is what he does. He takes it, he breaks it, he gives thanks for it. Then he breaks up the pieces and gives just a little bit to each of the 12. Each of the 12 take the little bit, they put a little bit in their basket. They go around, they start handing it out in the circles. As they hand it out, they realize that it's never stopping. When they come back to Jesus, all of them in their baskets have baskets full of leftovers. All 12 of Jesus' closest friends had leftovers when they came back. They ended with more than they started. Isn't that crazy? And then it says something super profound in Matthew 14, verse 20. It says they all ate as much as they wanted, and afterward the disciples picked up 12 baskets of leftovers. About 5,000 were fed that day, in addition to all the women and children. Some people estimate that more than 10,000 people were fed in this one miraculous event. By the way, remember, this is before lines, this is before machines, this is before, like if you go, I just got to go to the Mavericks game last night, it was awesome. And it's not like how they have lines for everything and they figured it all out, okay? It would have taken them hours to feed 10,000 people. The disciples have given their time, their energy, their resources, and they're walking around feeding people. And over they're going, oh my gosh, is this gonna be enough? Oh my gosh, I gotta be done yet, oh my gosh. And then they realize that they feed everybody. 12 dudes. They listened to Jesus, they saw a need, they did what they could, they helped out. So this is what I want you to remember from this. There's 3 E's here. Here's the first one, every little bit helps. Every little bit helps. If you see a way to help someone even this much, your this much added to everyone else's this much means a lot of much, and it matters much. Every little bit helps. Next, every hand helps pass to someone else. Every hand helps to pass to someone else. When you use your hands for good, when you use your powers for good, your hands help someone else. That means you're helping pass something around. You're helping give someone something that they don't have. When all of our hands touch something like that, it's a good thing, not a bad thing. And here's the other one, everyone wins. Every day in this building, I hear people tell me stories about how they went on a trip, how they gave, how they served, how they gave up time, how they did something nice for someone else. See, the person who gets it doesn't just benefit, you do too. Here's 2 ways that you benefit. Number 1, it makes you feel good. And I know you like to feel good. I like to feel good. Here's the other way you benefit. And this is one that we don't talk about a whole lot. It helps you look good. Do you know one of the ugliest things that you can put on your appearance? Selfishness. Because I'm gonna tell you, when someone comes across as really selfish, it's one of the ugliest things someone can wear. And when you put your best foot forward to help someone else with your care, concern, your needs, your resources, what you can do to help somebody, you help yourself look good. And I want that for you. Jesus put it this way. In Matthew chapter 23, he said, the greatest among you must be a servant, but those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted. For those of us that get a little bit too preoccupied with making ourselves look a little too much like a big deal, God has this really funny way of helping us be reminded that sometimes we're not quite as big a deal as we think we are for the reasons that we want to be seen as a big deal. I mean, you are a big deal, but when you try to make yourself look like a big deal for selfish reasons or wrong reasons, God has this funny way of helping people see behind what's really going on. So here's my challenge to you. I want you to let God grow your faith and your rep through serving. I want you to have a reputation as someone who is not selfish, someone who has a reputation that you can be trusted, someone who has a reputation that you're worth being respected, someone who has a reputation where you can have something to give someone else. To where when your friend says your name to their parent, that your friend's parent thinks, oh wow, I like that you hang out with them. Whenever I see them, they're quick to ... help out, make a difference, make a change, say the right thing. I love the kind of friend they are to you. I want people to say that about you behind your back. I want you to be the kind of person that when your parent has to talk to one of your teachers, that the conversation that your teacher has with your parent is, oh my gosh, I so love having your kid in my class. Because they always help others with ... They're always the first to ... I want that for you. Because you know what? That kind of stuff helps life at home a lot. I promise. So 3 ideas of where I'd like to see you flex your serve. First one's at home. If you're not serving at home, I want to put a finger in your chest and flat out tell you should be serving at home. You shouldn't serve because you're getting money for it. You shouldn't serve because you're being asked or nagged, as the case may be. You should serve at home because it's the right thing to do and you care about making someone else's life better. I want to encourage you to find one way you can serve at home. What is it? Is it that you clear off the table after dinner? Is it that you pick up after the dog? In our house right now, my little dog is suffering from anxiety. My dog thinks it's a good idea to show everybody it has anxiety by pooping on my floor. It sucks. But guess who cleans it up so that his wife and his daughter do not have to do it? This guy. Look for a way you can serve. Not because you want to, not because it's cool, not because it's great, not because you're getting money, but because you can. Serve at church. When we release you from this room, if you go out those doors and you look to the right, there is a help desk in the corner. My friend Daniel or my friend Daniel's friend is going to be there. They're going to have stuff there where they're going to help you see how you can serve at Preston Trail. You might have always wondered on the weekends how you could serve with little kids or how you can serve with technology here. My friend Jessica, who was on stage, I know she started serving as a teenager. My friend Amanda that was over here that got the introduction earlier, I know she started serving at Preston Trail as a teenager. My friend Bailey, who hosts up here sometimes, Bailey Binder, I know that he started serving as a 7th grader. Reese, who sang the song, he started serving as a 6th grader at church. There's not too young for you to be able to serve and give back. Ask about what you can do to serve at Preston Trail. Serving at your church is a big deal. It's part of your family, and we're your family. Next is serve in your community. Look for ways to serve at your school. Look for ways to serve in your neighborhood, in your city. Look for ways to serve outside of your city. If you're interested, a great trip that's coming up over spring break is to serve at Mission Arlington. Mission Arlington is a week long. I know several people that are in this room that went on their very first mission trip. Mission meaning purpose, trip meaning it's away from home, okay? Went on a trip with a purpose to help people see God and to serve them. We do all kinds of rad things. We run a little like a Bible study for little kids in these low-income apartment complexes and low-income neighborhoods. We play games with them. We teach them about Jesus. We sing with them. We help them do art activities. Sometimes it was going door to door and giving food to people who need it. and asking how to pray for them. Sometimes it was literally taking a time just to listen to somebody and pray with them and get to know them. But it doesn't cost a ton of money. It's a week of your time. And if you've never gone on a trip like this, I highly encourage you to do so. I've gone on it multiple times and it is awesome. It's great. And I think that you would have a great time if you've never been on a trip like this before. In fact, if you've been on the Mission Arlington trip, would you do me a favor and just raise your hand so that people can see you? Okay. So if you see these people with their hands up, go ahead and leave your hand up, please, Mission Arlington people. If you have a question, I want to encourage you to go and you ask them later about what it was like and how you think that they would do on a trip like that. But I want to give you a challenge. If you want to be the person that I believe you are and that God's made you to be, I want to encourage you to make the choice to improve your serve. It will up your reputation and it will up the way people see you, and you will become more than you think you can. You have a lot to give. You can learn a lot and do a lot. Just give yourself the grace to take a chance. I love you. I'm going to pray for you now, okay? God, thank you so much that you give us the opportunities to grow. That you don't limit us, you don't hold us back, you actually help us, and you challenge us to move forward, to grow and be our best. Lord, I pray for the people in this room that feel like that you're kind of, politely talking to them very quietly, spirit to spirit, heart to heart. And you're telling them, you know what, you could do that. You know what, you should do that. Lord, that's your voice. And I pray that we would have friends in this room that would listen to it, maybe for the first time. And I pray, God, that we would make a difference in someone else's life, at our home, at our school, and in our community. And that you would remind us that you want to grow us deeper. And that when we serve others, we do exactly that. We love you, and we'll give you the rest of our night and week. In your name, amen.